Have you really thought about how you level up within your role, within your business? How do you really create that impact that you're looking to make so that you can feel like you have presence and authority and gravitas? Maybe you're looking to move up within your organization or beyond. Or maybe you're considering, how do you really establish your business as one that's a go-to for others within your industry or looking to work with your industry. I work with a lot of leaders who are executives or business owners, and one of the main comments or one of the main challenges that we work through is how you establish your authority and really up-level your impact. And there is a whole level of evolution of self that we go into. But one of the biggest pieces, and I think this is something that we can all work on and all take away, is really how we just show up for ourselves. And in turn, how we show up then for others and how we show up for our work that we're doing. And what it really boils down to is accountability. How accountable are we to ourselves? How accountable are we to our commitments? How accountable are we to others and the people who are working with us in our lives? How accountable are we to our work? Our accountability says so much about the person that we are, how we value ourselves and how we value others that we are working with, how we ultimately show respect. And when we are not accountable, that says so much. So inadvertently, we are building a brand around either how accountable that we are or whether we are not, what type of person we are. Are we dependable? Can people count on us? Are we trustworthy? This is something that so often we overlook because rationally, our brains are looking at things from a different perspective. Oftentimes our emotions are running how we decide to move forward within our businesses, within our careers. And so we base a lot of our decisions on whether we feel like doing something or not, whether it really fits in. Did I overbook myself? I don't really feel like going to this meeting. I don't really feel like showing up. And I know as someone who has constantly battled that in my own life, this can be a real problem. I used to have a problem with being chronically late. I was chronically late when I was in college, running late to school, running late to doctor's appointments, running late to lunches with friends, just running late in general. I'd run late to work. And I was constantly in this state of frenzy, it almost felt like, because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how to plan myself appropriately, how to plan my time appropriately, and also how to attribute what running late really meant. And then I can take this even further. So how we even show up. Do we even show up to appointments? Do we even show up for the commitments that we say that we're going to do? Do we show up for other people in our lives, whether we know them very well or we've just met them? This is the crux of how we start to develop a brand for ourselves, a sense of authority, presence, and impact. This is how we can determine whether or not people want to work with us and whether or not we are someone that other people can promote or rely on. If we're not showing up, what we are essentially saying to ourselves, to our mind, is that we are not worthy and we have no value. And so when I was showing up late chronically, I suffered from a lot of insecurities, a lot of self-doubt, imposter syndrome, a lack of worthiness in my own life. And so therefore that came out externally, not realizing the impact of what that meant. See, I didn't think that others would actually mind whether I was there or not. I didn't think others would really care whether I showed up. I didn't put enough value on myself for me to think that it mattered. But in return, what I was telling them, the message I was sending, was that they didn't matter. They didn't have value in my life. And so it didn't matter if I showed up. See, I didn't think that they would care because I didn't have enough value for me. And so why would I think that they cared that much? Oh, well, I wasn't there. What I didn't realize, I was showing a lot of disrespect, because it did matter if I was there. It mattered because they had taken the time to be there, and I need to take the time to show up and be present and be there. So let's fast forward this into business, into leadership. If you set up networking discussions, if you're trying to create partnerships, if you're trying to put yourself out there and become known, and then you cancel or you don't show up, what is that telling not only the other person, but what is it telling yourself? What's it telling your brain? Is that setting you up for living a life of success? Successful entrepreneurs, successful business leaders and executives understand that accountability and showing up is crucial for success. It's leading a life of service and humility and accountability. And really, it's stating to the world that everybody else matters, and so do they, that they value their time as much as they value others. And so the message that they're sending when they show up, whether it's someone important or someone not important, according to them in their mind, it makes a world of difference. Have you ever had a leader who was maybe levels above you, who decided to sit down for an informational meeting with you, and you were so grateful that they took the time to do it? How did that make you feel? Did that make you feel valued and important? Well, they understood this crucial philosophy. They understood that what this means for success. It's being accountable. It's showing up when you say you're going to. And what if they late canceled? What if they just didn't show up? How would that make you feel? How would that motivate you as an individual? Would that make you feel very valued, or like they valued your time? So what happens when we do that to someone else? What message are we sending? Do we do that to our teams? Do we do that to other people that we've just met? Do we do that to people in our lives that matter to us? How accountable are you to the people who decide that they are going to work with you, or going to help you, or want to just even sit down with you, or even talk to you, pick your brain? So important that we get out of ourselves and get out of our own way and really recognize what it means when we show up, when we are in service, when we say yes and we are committed to something, that we follow through. I'm not saying that life doesn't happen. Sure, it does. We can't control sickness. We can't control fires that we have to put out. We can't control last-minute meetings. There are so many things in the world that we can't control. But if you are consistently and chronically canceling or not showing up or missing deadlines or having rationalizations or excuses for why you can't be present, then it might be something to consider looking at a deeper level. It might be something worth taking note of, so that you can start leading your successful life now, so that you can start building in those habits now and reframing your mindset around how you show up for your commitments now. One of the things that I decided to do when I started to grow as a leader was that I was no longer going to be late. I was no longer going to always be late canceling, or, oh, I don't have enough time, or whatever, that I was going to start showing up. And so that meant that when I was going out and networking and meeting with people, I looked at every conversation curiously. I had curiosity. I wanted to get to know them. It wasn't about what I could get or what I would receive, or was it going to be worth my time. It was about, we don't know the types of connections that we will make. We don't know the types of outcomes conversations will bring. I don't think we put enough weight on those types of connections. We are so lost in our busyness. We are so lost in our own worlds that we don't realize the damage that we are creating to our reputation, to our brand, and to ourselves. The lack of respect that we are showing ourselves when we break a commitment. We, in order to succeed, need to show up and show up as our best selves and to be fully present in the moment that we are in and the message that we are sending and how we are saying to others that they are valuable and that you are trustworthy. So if you've been struggling a little bit with your accountability, I urge you to take a look at that and see what types of commitments can you start to turn around, and how can you start showing up for yourself, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And really, how are you honoring the people within your life? How are you demonstrating your appreciation, your gratitude for others and their time and what they're pouring back into you? Accountability is the greatest message of trust and gratitude and appreciation and value and service-based leadership that we can bring to our businesses, to our lives, to those around us. I'd love to know in the comments what you're thinking. I'd love to know your thoughts and what resonated for you. Is accountability something that you feel is incredibly important for the growth of your career? Look forward to talking.